Right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to We Got a Problem. So before I start the video, I just want to say a big thanks to all the viewers and subscribers. The channel has had over 1.5 million views in its first month and nearly hit 10,000 subscribers in the same time frame. I first uploaded to the channel on the 7th of May 2019 and we now sit at 9,906 subscribers at the current time of recording. So let's get down to business then. Last night on the Nigel Farage show, hosted by the radio network LBC, a lady from South Wales named Charlotte called up the show in response to the Brexit Party leader asking listeners their thoughts on the Trump visit and if they consider it a success, as Nigel Farage himself had earlier labelled it a stonking success. Now let's listen to the exchange first and then we'll go over it.
Let's go to Charlotte in the Forest of Dean. Good evening, Charlotte.
Good evening, Nigel. Nice to speak to you.
Good to speak to you. So, was it I'm calling it a stonking success. I mean, do you agree? Do you disagree?
I think it's been an absolutely huge success. I don't know what it is when he comes into town, but it's just a breath of fresh air after the kind of very taupe politicians we have in this country, who have no backbone, who don't appear to have our interests at heart. And it's so refreshing to have someone like Trump come in and speak in the way he does. I really feel that he cares about country.
Well, I do too, but do you understand, Charlotte, why some people seem to absolutely hate him in the most extraordinary way?
I do. The Trump derangement syndrome that I've seen since he arrived on Monday is just right off the Richter scale. And I do sometimes wonder if this kind of induced leftist madness needs to sometimes be just culled completely from our country. Seems to infest everything. Even Corbyn, Corbyn's got it in a big way. So,
well, I have to say, I think it's been a very bad week for Jeremy Corbyn. I really, genuinely do. I think he's made himself look really somewhat silly. But yep, you're right. The Trump derangement syndrome, it's there, and people are driven mad by him. Indeed, we've had callers in the last 2 or 3 days ringing up and screaming about him. I've not been able to cope with them in a sense. It's just impossible to have a conversation. Come on. One of you ring now, 0345 6060 973. Tell me Trump has behaved terribly and the trip is a disaster.
Now she starts off by saying the obvious fact that the trip was a massive success, which is obviously correct, only a fool would think differently. Some media outlets I'm sure would fit that category, but even the Tories would consider it a success since Trump destroyed the stone-cold loser Sadiq Khan before he'd even touched down, and then the next day, while standing next to the outgoing Prime Minister Theresa May, live on the BBC News, he let the world know his disdain for the negative force that is Comrade Corbyn, the communist leader of the Labour Party, who claimed he was boycotting Trump before screaming from a stage to an embarrassingly low amount of anti-Trump supporters that might well have been paid to be there. I even reported how a BBC reporter tweeted out claiming a fantastical amount had attended the protests, but another report from the BBC had already stated live on BBC News there was only a few thousand protesters at most listening to Commie Corbyn spewing his nonsense. The fact Trump ridiculed both the Labour Party and one of his MPs would no doubt have made the Conservative Party very happy, and you have to consider that the Tories are in dire straits right now over their Brexit betrayal, so they'll take anything that's coming to them. She moves on to say how he cares about this country, which Trump himself has said he does since he is half Scottish by his mother, who moved from Scotland to the USA aged 19. She admires the way Trump is not afraid to say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done, unlike the snivelling weasels we call MPs in the UK, who entered the Brexit negotiations like we are a third world country, begging for the scraps from the EU table. No wonder she finds Trump a breath of fresh air. So Nigel then goes on to ask, does she understand why some people hate Donald Trump, prompting Charlotte to call out the Trump derangement syndrome that has infected the UK media and politicians in the last week. She goes on to state how the leftist-induced hysteria needs to be culled, and I couldn't agree more. The hysteria is making YouTube bow down to the woke army with its new extremely vague and politically motivated policies introduced yesterday, as I'm sure you all know by now. So the mainstream media is trying to shut down YouTube by attacking not only the creators' income, but YouTube's entire ad revenue stream, with the ultimate goal of ending YouTube, which will happen soon if YouTube continues to pander to the insane ideologies that label anyone who disagrees with them a racist or a fascist and tries to deplatform or censor them. It needs to stop, because if Google and YouTube don't stand up for it, the outrage mobs on Twitter will take it down. Anyway, before I go off on the tangent, let's get back on topic. You hear Nigel respond in a very diplomatic way, acknowledging the well-known fact Corbyn has had a week to forget, some of which I've already pointed out in this video, before Nigel goes on to confirm the Trump derangement syndrome is a very real mental health issue in 2019, even alluding to the fact that some of the screening lunatics have been on his show this week. Now, if Trump gets elected again in 2020, then the Western world might be forced to recognise Trump derangement syndrome as a legitimate medical condition to get these people some real help. The media and politicians have been feeding their insanity with no thought to the long-lasting effects this terrible mental condition is going to have on these people. I mean, listen to this.
Nazi scum! 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 Nazi!
I'm here to stay. I'm not welcome. Fuck off. You're behaving as badly as he is.
Yeah, you're just as bad as him, guys. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
As badly as he is. Stop frustration. Behaving as badly as him.
How can you behave like that to somebody?
You're inciting. It doesn't matter. You do not shout.
I don't need to hear from another white man, thank you very much.
You are a bad.
This is exactly what Charlotte is referring to, and as you can clearly see, she is spot on. It needs to be culled before it affects these people's lives. It can't be healthy to think it's okay to scream at older men like that. Did her parents teach her any respect? I'd be ashamed if my child acted like a deranged animal in public. I would probably consider getting it sectioned under the Mental Health Act when I think about it, as that's literally the definition of insanity. Now let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Don't forget to leave a like and share the video, as it always helps, and I will see you all in the next video.
Man's gonna kill this shit, you'll need SWAT and medics too. Off with the contract credits due. Punchline king, I'm ahead of you. Ain't your knees where you're heading to. Whip is green but the lights are blue. Bars are shit, take the mic from you. Heating up cheese, I don't like fondue.